Hello and welcome to Queendom TV, and today I'm going to be talking about why I personally agree with Molly Mae. And for those of you who don't know who Molly Mae even is, she is basically somebody that was on Love Island UK, not the last one, but I think the one before. And recently she did an interview on Diary of a CEO with Stephen Bartlett, where he talks to CEOs at length, kind of about their journeys, asks them questions, and I really like that. I think if any of you are interested in business and stuff like that, it's a really good channel to watch and just hear from. I was watching Ben Francis from Gymshark. It's a good place to just hear from the people themselves about their journeys, because I think a lot of times, people talk about this stuff on like in books and stuff, but it's nice to hear the story from the person. I think sometimes you can learn more from that. But anyways, I digress. So she was on there, and there's been a lot of upset about some of the stuff that she said, and as she knew would be, and she's been a very controversial character, which to me is kind of like really strange for me, because I don't think she's controversial at all. In fact, I really like her. I really liked her and her relationship with her boyfriend. They came onto the show. Once she came in and they met, he was sure that he wanted her. He was loyal to her, and they're still together to this day. They've been one of the most stable couples, at least that I've seen. I haven't been watching Love Island like since the first season or anything. And they've both been pretty successful. She's been very successful. She recently became the creative director at Pretty Little Thing. And that's kind of where I guess we'll start this whole story. And I'm talking about this because I feel that sometimes in society we have a tendency to, I feel like people are quick, especially, and I've talked about hate in comments and just how openly critical we are now of everybody. And I think one of the things that is highlighted to me is the fact that everybody has something to say about the people who are actually doing the things that they want to do. Because at the end of the day, this is how I look at it. Number one, outside of my feelings about Molly, she is living the life that a lot of people who are criticizing her want to live. She has money. They had their house broken into, which was really sad. I think I did a video about that as well. And they got another house. Like, she did the massive giveaway. People are upset about that because it's cost like £25,000, I guess, and there was like lots of different stuff that she'd bought for this giveaway, and people were upset that she was spending all this money. And so whatever people had to say, she has money, she's doing well, and now she's working with an amazing company as a creative director, which, if you ask me, she's outdone a lot of other people in terms of what they've managed to achieve after leaving the show. Because not only has she just not come out with a collection, a lot of them come out with a collection, that's kind of the normal thing, they come out with a collection that they made, yada yada yada, but she's actually got a position. They actually valued her in the business enough to want to put her there. So all of this, and I think she's only 22. And so the reason why I'm highlighting all of this stuff, and the reason why I have to say that this is why I agree with her, is, first of all, she lives the life that a lot of people want to live, and in some ways she lives the life this life that I would want to live. I think you have so much more value listening to the people that actually live the life you want to live. This is a piece of advice I give to people, because I've realized that there's so many people listening to voices of people who are not even achieving what you actually want to achieve yourself. So why are you listening to them? Because they're not going to get you there. They're not going to get you where you're trying to go. And they're going to tell you why everything you're doing is wrong, and then leave you there. And then you're going to end up following them and then being unhappy because you're in a life, and which maybe they're happy with their life. I'm not just saying that everybody has to have the same life. I think people choose for themselves what you want to do. But don't take advice from people unless, I think you gain more from learning from people who live the life you want to live, which is why I said I like watching this Diary of a CEO thing, because it's giving me really helpful tools and tips that I'm only going to hear from people who are actually living the life that I want to live, kind of thing. But also, people were offended that she said, Beyonce has the same 24 hours that we do. And this is a phrase that has been thrown around. People say, well, we all have the same 24 hours, we all have the same 24 hours. And I was reading on Instagram, people getting really, really upset about this, right? And I was like, and people say stuff like, oh, well, she doesn't know what it's like to be disabled, or to be underprivileged, or to be a person of color, or to be blah, blah, blah. And the thing is, I really feel for a lot of these white people who are just successful, who've actually worked hard, who get who always get told like, oh, well, of course you did because you had the white privilege. Of course you did. White privilege, white privilege, white privilege. Like, first of all, I will say there is an element of I wouldn't say that there's an element of white privilege as much as I would say that there is a lot of disadvantages for people who are, you know, maybe a person of color for many different reasons. Racism has, you know, put its hand into things like how the world has been built in a lot of ways. Obviously, for those of us living in Western countries, which is another thing that I like to point out, that at the end of the day, you are living, and I know people are going to be like, but we were brought here, but which is true, or some people were brought here anyway. It's not going to be surprising that the laws are in favor of them, you know, and there are a lot of people who are making an effort to try and change that, you know. I think it's unfair to keep writing off a white person who's been successful as white privilege. I think it's getting very boring. I think a lot of these people, they just knuckle down and they work, because she talks about how she works so hard. She's always working. Her and her I think it's her manager have become like best, I don't know if it's her manager or I think it's her manager, have become like best friends because all they do is work. Pretty much, she's talked about how she has a very small circle of friends, you know, and this is all in this same interview that she talked about this, and this is what shows me that I know people just saw some clips, got upset, and then didn't even bother to hear the full story, which is why I think it's always important to hear the full story of something before you make a judgment, right? And you know, she said she's got a small circle of friends, so I reckon again, you know, and this is me looking at her 24 hours as a logistical thing, right? As a logistical thing, if you're looking at your day, and let's call it 12 hours, right? Let's call it 12 maybe working hours, because you probably sleep like hopefully like 7 to 9 hours a night, you know, and then a couple of extra hours in there just for whatever we're going to call those for. Let's look at your day as though there are 12 hours, right? 12 active hours. A lot of people will spend at least a couple of hours a day on social media, maybe at least a couple of hours a day talking to their friends, talking to people that they love, which is not a bad thing, by the way. But I'm just saying, if you start to divvy that up, right, we've already lost, let's say if you spent 2 hours doing those things, we've already lost 4 hours out of the day. A normal work day is like at least 8 hours, so that's 8 hours. So we've already used up all those 12 hours. It's not surprising that a lot of people are not able to do a lot of things because you're not giving yourself the time. Somebody like her who is not on social media a lot, she's also said it's not a great place for her, you know, for the kind of hate that she gets. I think she said that. And I know historically a lot of successful people say that, you know, and also her having less friends and therefore probably spending less time maybe on FaceTime or, you know, doing whatever. She's getting those hours back and she's using them. And I think that's kind of what was highlighted to me was she wasn't saying that. And you find this a lot of people with a lot of people who are successful, that they'll say that like, you'll see how it works when they actually explain what their day is like, or explain what their life is like, because you could see, oh, where I might have spent, you know, 2 hours doing this in the evening, let's say, this person is just working, you know, and stuff like that. And so I think you have to also take into account the fact that there is truth to what she's saying. We do all have the same 24 hours. We really do. And do I think that the obstacles that we face are all the same? No, I don't. I think everybody has different obstacles. Maybe some people do have slightly better options, and a lot of people do have, and there are people who have better options. But also, and this is really why I'm making this video, we need to get rid of this victimhood mentality. We really need to throw this out the window, because one thing that I realized, and it was actually because of Candace Owens, who I started listening to, and I love, by the way, I love Candace Owens. Like, I would love to meet her. I'd love to be friends with her. She's one of those people that I feel like she just gives me peace when I listen to her speak about stuff, right? She talks a lot against victim mentality, particularly for Black people, because she says that because we sit there in the victimhood so much, and when I say we, I'm not just talking about Black people, I'm talking about anybody who makes a billion excuses about why they can't do something. That in and of itself prevents you from being able to do anything, because you're not really you're not looking to see what options are there. You're not really trying, you know. You're just making excuses that, oh, I can't do that. Oh, why not? Because you're Black. Oh, because I'm Black. Oh, because I'm Black. Everything's because I'm Black, and Black. And because I'm Black, nothing is possible and everything is impossible. And to me, my question back at people who say stuff like that is, so what is going to happen in your life then? Are you just going to make excuses till the day you die and then never achieve anything? Or are you going to attempt things regardless of the obstacles and fight and keep fighting and keep fighting and keep fighting? Because that's what people do. That's what people who are really successful a lot of the time. And there's this kind of like narrative in society today that people who have done well, they just got lucky. It could have been anyone who could have gone big. No. Actually, no, it's not the case. A lot of people, maybe it's some of the case, the small amount of the time, and I won't even look at that as luck if you ask me. But a lot of people have worked hard. Like, she is working hard. She is working hard. Even when she describes about how she got into her role, a Pretty Little Thing is a very active role that she plays, you know, in that. I remember even people were saying, have said similarly about, you know, Grace Beverly. She's the one who founded Tala. She founded B&D, which is now called Shreddy, I believe. Again, another white girl. She's about 20, I think she's like 24, 25, I'm not sure. She's like 24, I think. And she's another one who got stick from everybody saying, oh, she's just privileged. But I watched her because I used to watch her, and this is why I like to watch people on YouTube, and this is why people should humble themselves and actually watch people's journeys. And this is why I think YouTube is great, because I watched her from before she was massively famous, before she was even vegan, funnily enough. And I saw her as a university student in Cambridge that she worked extremely hard for. I saw all the types of assignments, and I was actually comparing like our university experiences, because I've done a degree as well, and what she had to do was hard. It was really, really hard. She had a lot of assignments, a lot of essays. She had a very essay kind of based degree. She had to do so much, and on top of that, she founded companies. She was running a YouTube channel, editing the videos, and she was doing a lot. She was really doing a lot. And I think people just want to say, oh, it was white privilege. She worked for it, you know. Molly Mae is another one who really worked for it. You know, she had a YouTube channel before she moved. I mean, even in the interview, she was talking about how what was she saying in the video? She was talking about how she had how little amount of money she had actually ever had in her own bank account before being on Love Island. So people act like she really came with all these tools. Yes, her parents are police officers. To be honest with you, I don't necessarily see that being a massive help for her, the type of career she's had now, other than maybe if she ever did something that was illegal, maybe getting away with it. But she doesn't seem like the kind of person who was even thinking about doing stuff like that. So I just feel like, first of all, I do agree with everything she says. I'm inspired by her, honestly. I'm inspired by her work ethic, by her maturity at such a young age, and her dedication, and the fact that she's not making excuses even when things have happened, you know. And I think people underestimate the level of strength that a lot of these people have, because dealing with so many people, having to say so much whilst also working so hard to not even get probably the real level of recognition you actually deserve, right, for the work you know you've put in, is very hard. You know, it's very, very difficult. People thrive off of being acknowledged. They want validation. They want people to say well done. So imagine being, you know, your job being social media as well. That's the other thing. And having all of these criticisms about things that you're actually working really hard on and things you're actually trying to be really good at. I do really feel for these people quite a lot. I feel for them. And you know, I think we need to just stop being jealous. I think a lot of it comes to jealousy. If we're going to be honest, if we're going to be very honest, people are jealous, and they're jealous and lazy. I kind of connect this to the story of Cain and Abel in the Bible, because in the Bible, Cain and Abel, you have Abel, who brought the firstborn of his cattle, and he cut the fat from them and everything to bring as an offering to the Lord. And Cain had just grabbed some of his, this is how I'm interpreting it, guys, go and read it for yourself. It's in Genesis, I think chapter 3 or 4, one of those, early in Genesis anyway. And Cain had only brought, you know, he just grabbed some of his crop basically. And a lot of people would criticize, and this is like how people are today. They criticize and they'll go, well, Cain didn't have animals to bring to the table. And Cain didn't have animals. He only had plants. But guess what? It wasn't about what Abel had. It's about how his heart was and what he chose to do. And he chose to put in the extra work of cutting into the, I mean, for Cain, it was actually easier, because all he had to do was just bring his first and best batch, if you ask me, is what the Lord was asking, and more as a sign of love and appreciation to God than anything else, right? Abel went out of his way to, imagine actually cutting into an animal, cutting out the fat, of choosing the firstborn, making sure it's the firstborn. I don't know what efforts he would have had to go to put them aside. You know, there's a difference there. And so for Cain to have been jealous, which is what it was to me, and then, you know, obviously in the end he killed his brother, even though he had an opportunity. It's just like how people are today. It's just like how people are today, where people are quicker to criticize, people quicker to have all these victimhood mentalities of like, well, you know, I didn't bring this and I didn't do that. Just humble yourself, Don't be jealous, and put that energy into your own thing that you're doing. You know what I mean? Because you don't know what work somebody else has put in to get to where they are. And I think that's why a lot of people who are well off detach themselves from the normal society, because they've realized that it doesn't work. It doesn't work being successful to those levels and then also trying to maintain any kinds of relationships with people at a lower level, because they look at your success. A lot of the times they just look at it as if like, well, you're lucky and you like, can you just be happy for people? And if you can't be happy, first of all, you need to deal with that. And also, just do it yourself. That's even what God said to Cain. He's like, Cain, but could you not just rectify this next time? Can you not just take this opportunity and do something better again? Because the thing is that Abel gained favor from God because of what he did. Do you see how that works? Because he put in the work, right? Then he gained favor from God, and God's like, look, that's still an option for you. Like, and it's that's why I'm saying, even for people who complain, like, there is still that option, but you got to take it. You can either take it, or you can take the victimhood mentality, or you can allow jealousy to run your life, and it's very ugly. And being a jealous person is very ugly. I think a lot of the hate in the world today is jealousy from people who are not really doing much, who probably themselves are not very happy, and then criticizing the people who are actually doing it. Criticizing, I mean, it's even like how people say that people on YouTube shouldn't make money. It's their job. They've made so much effort to put those videos out there. I have no issues. In fact, I sit through YouTubers ads sometimes just in the hopes that they're going to make more money. Because why are we criticizing people? Why are we getting upset that they're getting paid for something they've given to you for free? And again, if it bothers you that much, start your own YouTube channel, for flip's sake. Make your own money with all your ideas and all your opinions. Anyway, on that note, if you haven't made it this far in the video, guys, please let me know, and let me know if you're preferring my longer videos, because I was doing shorter ones, but I just didn't feel like I wanted you guys to know that I really do care, and I'm not just like, I wasn't just cutting them down. Like, I didn't want to overdo it, you know, because like I said, anyway, making it longer by explaining myself. God bless you all. Don't forget to subscribe. If you have enjoyed my video, don't forget to let me know your thoughts in general in the comment section down below. Other than that, God bless you, and I'll see you in my next one. Goodbye.